It's the roll up, it's the vibes. It's another logo talk, pulling up midweek, chop it up with the people. Before we get started, hit that like button, subscribe, show us some love. All that helps us climb the algorithms, man. It's past December 5th. 12/5 was National Portal Day. All the fireworks, all the name that's entering the portal has been exciting. I'm pulling up today to talk about the quarterback position as it pertains to the University of Florida. This is gonna be the first time I have a guest on Logo Talk, man. Got a special one for you guys. Gonna hang out with quarterback trainer and owner of 6 Points Jacks, Denny Thompson. Talk a little AR, talk a little Austin Reed, talk a little Jeff Sims, what he thinks about the portal. But again, like, subscribe, Taylor, bring my man Denny on the screen, and we're gonna hang out a little bit.
What's up, guys? Feel good?
Vibing, man. Vibing.
Yeah, it's
How
good
you
to see you in
feeling?
Tally, man. It was good to see you in Tally.
Yeah, man. We talked a little bit in Tyler. Before we get talking about the portal, let's talk about Anthony Richardson a little bit. We talked at the tailgate out there at Lot 19 with man James Coleman. Shout out to those guys. Had a beautiful time out there, but we chatted a little bit before the game. I asked you
Yeah.
your opinion. What was your boy gonna do? And you thought pretty much what happened. He was gonna declare. You also thought he was gonna have a big game and put on the show a little bit. And I thought he did put on the show at least the first half, and it got a little weird in the middle eight. But what's your opinion on AR heading to the NFL now? We'll get into some more details, but overall opinion on his decision.
Well, I think the deeper we got into the season and the more we started talking to people that matter, like people that are going to make those decisions, it became pretty obvious that the thought of Anthony um, is really high, right? Like, I mean, there's the attributes, there's the traits that everybody talks about, and those things can't be duplicated. Those things can't be taught. And the NFL has shown over the course of time that they are a trait league, not necessarily a production league. And
Right.
so I think as we got deeper into the season, and he had a pretty good run of games at the end, um, it became pretty obvious. It became pretty obvious probably early November, probably after Florida, Georgia. And the conversations weren't had with Anthony, but they were had internally of, okay, let's make a pros and cons list. And so, man, like that con is always injury.
Right.
And it's something that you don't control. And man, it's such a huge con that it takes substantial pros to overcome that. And so when you're graded as high as he is, when you got the attributes he's got, like it's almost not even a decision. And the only reason it was a decision because he's a Gainesville guy and he loves the University of Florida. I think
Right.
outside of that, it was strictly business.
How early you think he gets picked? I've heard some crazy numbers, and I heard there's a big need for quarterbacks this year, and a lot of teams in the top five may be looking for a guy.
It's a
What you
great
hearing?
year. It's a great year to come out. I mean, we've been told over and over that he's a top 15 guy. There's a lot that can happen. But you and I talked about this at the tailgate too, man. Like that ain't gonna do nothing but go up. He's not gonna do
Right.
anything in these next 3 months to make people shy away from him, especially the interviews. You,
Right.
you you know him, man. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to
Well
explain
spoken.
Anthony to somebody that don't know him. Like he's just different. There's a difference to him. And so when people start to feel that, I don't see any way that doesn't improve. And then he can put on as much of a show as he wants to put on in his pro day. He can do some crazy numbers if he wants to.
Do you think, just looking back on the season, there's a lot of inconsistencies with him? You can
Yeah,
see, I never got off my take of him being a first round quarterback. Even I got co-hosts on the roll up. He'd have those 127-yard passing games. I was like, yo, we still got games to play, and I know this
yeah.
kid. I believe in his potential, so we'll see how this play out. But I still got him as a first round quarterback. But it was some inconsistencies there, and also just from my perspective, looked like he was, like you said, that con you was talking about, trying to shy away from injuries a little bit. What was your overall perspective of his play this year?
It was interesting because we go back.
Well, now it was a quick second right here. Then he popped back up in here. It was going too smooth, Taylor.
He graded out better than what you thought he would
You
grade
went out
out
for a
when
little
you
bit.
got.
Start over the
Oh,
tape. You went out.
my bad,
You went
man,
out.
my bad.
No, all good.
No, I was saying like the all 22 when you watched it after his games, at times wasn't as bad as what you thought the game was. He missed a couple reads, and I think the biggest thing for him wasn't the running or anything like that. It's shoring up that intermediate and short game, right? It's that's the thing that when you went back and you watched the film, there were a lot of missed opportunities, a lot of hidden yards in the checkdowns that he either didn't get to or he missed. But all in all, man, I thought it was an okay year. I think our expectations, mine included, of Anthony was Heisman. Like
For
I
sure.
expected him to be there in
I
New
mean, look at
York.
his class now. Like
Yeah.
if it went a little smoother, you know what I'm saying? He really played up to his highest potential. Of course, he'd be there, but because I don't think the people that they have at the Heisman ceremony is did anything special. He just
No,
didn't
I
have
no,
the year
I
we
I
thought he would
agree.
have. Yeah,
One other thing too, I think when you look back, when you look back at that Kentucky USF stretch, it's a completely different team. And Napier, you got to give him credit for this. As the year went along, they schemed guys open better. Early in
for
the year,
sure.
there was no separation anywhere. Later in the year, we started to see a little bit more separation. And so I think just collectively as a group and as a team, as a unit, they got better as the year went on, even though maybe, they ended up losing two. I think they executed much more efficiently at the end than they did at the beginning. And I'm sure some of that had to do with AR getting better as the year went on, too.
What's your thoughts of what can he do to improve that those intermediate throws? You think it's just a reps thing, or
Yeah. It's mechanically, he was pretty good all year. Um, I mean, there was a stretch where he had just a little bit of an inconsistency mechanically, but 80% of the year he was fantastic. So I think it's just repetition. I think it's getting that reps, it's feeling comfortable. A lot of that check down stuff is what you're doing with your eyes. It's when you're taking your eyes to the targets, and are your eyes and your feet moving together and things like that. And so I don't know if people may have noticed Anthony kind of working up in the pocket at the top of his drop almost every time. That's just a little timing mechanism that he has, and his legs are so long that he takes a deep drop and he needs to kind of come back into the line of scrimmage a little bit to protect himself, or his tackles are going to get burnt. But I think for the most part, it's just that rep, like you said, of knowing your time that you have and how your eyes and your feet move together, and really just the pacing of getting to each read. So I think with reps that'll improve. But I also think there's a little bit of, should Anthony even be going four reads deep? Like, to me, that's a valid question. Like, if you're looking at, and I'm not talking about Napier, I'm talking about football in general right now. If you look at how athletic all these quarterbacks are, if 1-2 run is your best option,
right?
why are you going 1-2-3-4, throw it away?
To be honest,
And so
just to be playing with it, Napier to me isn't a guy that adjusts to the talent. I think that's just what it's in his offense, and that's what he ran. I don't think that was in. I'm with you all season. I was begging for Anthony Richardson to make that 1-2 read take off, but a lot of long drops, scanning the entire field. I think we're not going to see. And as you see in recruiting, we're not chasing dual threat quarterbacks. It's just not what Napier values. I don't believe. I think he wants a guy that can move, but I don't know if he values Anthony Richardson legs as much as we did.
I agree with that. No, I completely agree. I think Napier does have a good range. I think he can. And I think he showed he can make adjustments. He's a really smart guy, really strategic guy. But I think you're right. I think when you look at who they go after, they're not pocket passers, but they're also not runners, right? And
Right.
maybe that's 80% of all quarterbacks now anyway. I don't even know that we should have those designations anymore. But you look at
Feel
like Jay
that.
Rashada, and you look at those guys, and they move, but they're not the guy that you go, hey, he's going to rush for 150 this week.
Right. I got to talk about the quarterback room, man. We'll talk. I do got some takes about Anthony Richardson, but we got plenty more time to bring you back on and talk about who should draft him and what's a good situation for him because I don't think he should play early in the league. But that's a whole nother conversation. Jalen Kittner was dismissed from University of Florida for crimes committed. Um,
Yeah.
the quarterback room is two early exits and it's dry bones right now. So we're in the portal. There's a guy in the portal right now, several guys in the portal that you coach. Austin Reed, who's the Western Kentucky University quarterback right now. A lot of Gator fans are on his tail about, possibly coming to the University of Florida. How you feel about him?
I love Austin. I think Austin, when, we always talk about guys who are dogs, and I think we throw that around too much. So that when you really say it about somebody, it almost dilutes it. Austin
Right.
is the definition of that, man. Like that dude just wins. I mean, you look back at Austin, he didn't play till senior year in high school. He sat behind another guy. His senior year in high school, he played 1 year. He was 6A player of the year in the state of Florida. Took him to the
Mm.
semifinals. Goes to West Florida, wins a natty his freshman year, sets records winning a natty, and then goes to Western Kentucky and damn near one-ups Bailey Zappi, right? And he's just got this energy about him. I say this about Austin all the time, man. It's like he walks in this facility, and it doesn't matter if there's middle school guys or high school guys or pro guys. The energy's coming up the minute he walks in. Like his energy introduces him before he even says a word. And that's just how this guy moves. And he's a dude. He's going to win. He's gonna make plays. It's not going to be the prettiest thing, but he's going to be effective. He's got that riverboat gambler mentality. We've got this saying at
Right.
6 Points that he came up with. He flat out tells the young guys, he's like, listen, when you throw a ball, if your balls don't go up in your stomach a little bit, you're doing it wrong. Like you're doing it wrong. And that's how he plays, man. He's smart. He don't turn the ball over, but he takes those shots that after the fact you go back and go, all right, damn, man, that was ballsy right there.
Well, he's transitioned from program to program. And I know coming from Western Kentucky to the SEC is going to be a big jump, but he's made jumps and seemingly learns pretty fast because he gets
Yeah.
productive soon as he get on these campuses. What's his IQ like from you working with him from that standpoint, like mindset wise?
Oh, he's elite. He's elite. And I know we're a Gator podcast, so I don't want to keep mentioning this guy, but he's Carson Beck elite. Like those guys have just a different mind. And Austin has that. He sees things before it happens. He knows what he's going to see, and he's very studious about the game, very serious about the game. So I think wherever he ends up, he's going to make an immediate impact. He's worth a couple of wins to any program, just about. But the situation for him is super unique. He's got a draft grade now, but he wants to see if he can be as much of a difference maker at the highest level of college football as he's been at the other levels of college football. And he wants to go somewhere and win a championship. And so that's his importance. He don't care about facilities. He don't care about the city it's in. He don't care about any of that stuff. What do you have around me? And can we compete for a championship? And if we can, let's go. He's not interested in taking visits. Let's just wrap this crap up, man, and let's
Hmm.
get to work.
He's from St. Augustine. Is there any interest from his side, or do you know if there's any contact between him and UF right now?
I did with UF what I did with everybody. As our guys hit the portals, I sent them the information, and it doesn't seem like there's a ton of interest on their side towards Austin.
Got you. What's your feel on my man Jeff Sims? I don't think the University of Florida has reached out as far as I know, but he's a guy that's coveted in the portal, leaving Georgia Tech. I know you coached him over at 6 Points as well. What's your feel on
Yeah,
him?
Jeff is when we put all of our guys together and we go, okay, who do you want a quarterback to look like? It's either Anthony or Jeff. I mean, they're both extremely athletic guys, smooth guys, good thinkers, everything you want. He's just, I feel, this is my opinion, not his. I just feel like he was in a terrible situation in Atlanta with Georgia Tech. He got the crap beat out of him the first couple of years as they were transitioning from that other offense. But when you really, again, when you really sit down and look at the film, like the guy's got everything you want, and that's why everybody's coming after him. We've heard from, I don't know, over 20 schools about Jeff, and Jeff has a process he's going through, and I would think, he's probably going to be a little bit later than the rest of these guys. I think you're going to see a lot of commitments happen in the next week and a half. I think Jeff will probably stretch out a little bit longer because there's more information to sift through.
Got you. Yeah, I'm in just wait and see mode right now with University of Florida and the transfer quarterback. I think it's very imperative that we get a good guy in to be productive next year. Um, I like Austin Reed, man. That ain't good news for me on my side because I
I
feel
know.
good. I like Austin Reed. I do like Devin Leary, but there's some health concerns there for me with him. What do you feel about Slavish from Pittsburgh?
I was surprised that he went in. I think he's arm talent, man. He's really, really good. And everything I've ever heard about the kid is I've never heard a bad thing about him. So I was surprised he went in. My opinion on Florida, just based on my past dealings with them, is they already got a plan. They have a board, they have a ranking. I think that they probably already have their three guys that are interested in them as well, and they're down to visits and trying to figure out which one will fit best. And the only reason why I say that is I haven't heard a peep from them. Right? I mean, we've had our fair share of guys. I would say top 10 portal guys come out, and I haven't heard from Florida at all. So I think it's probably a good sign if you're a Florida fan. That probably lets you know they're zeroed in on a couple of guys already.
Yeah, for sure. That's good information, man. I appreciate you for hanging out with us, man. We'll get you on the roll up more to talk some Anthony Richardson when we get closer to the draft.
Hey,
Shout out. Go
we
ahead.
start, man. We start in 2 weeks, bro. Like two
Y'all training?
weeks. Yeah, man. 2 weeks. We start draft prep, and it is a grind. We got a couple of dudes in this year, and we're excited about it. But yeah, he'll be up here in 2 weeks working.
I'm gonna pull up and check you out, bro.
Come on, man. You ain't got to knock. Just walk in.
Already, I'm gonna hit you up on the jack, and I'll let you know when I'm coming into town. But I'm gonna pull up,
Yeah,
check out
man.
the facility, do a little
Yeah, we'd love to
content.
have you. Yeah, yeah,
Already, man.
absolutely. Yep.
All
All right,
right,
bro.
Denny,
I
man.
appreciate it, man. Anytime.
All right, man. Have a good one, my dude.
You too, man.
You already know. Like, subscribe, beef in the comments. It's logo talk. It's going down, man. Didn't like the news on Austin Reed. I do like him out of Western Kentucky. Am concerned a little bit about the jump from Western Kentucky to the SEC, like I said. But I do like what I see from a leadership perspective. But it's interesting what Denny said as far as Florida being zeroed in on some guys, haven't contact anybody from his camp as far as the guys he's coached. So that still leaves Devin Leary, Slavis. I'm trying to think who else could possibly be. I don't know. Hartman hasn't officially hit the portal. Neither has Drizzy, Drake May hasn't hit the portal either. I'm still waiting to see there's some smoke there. But Bama part already got that settled, man. I'm hearing some crazy numbers when it pertains to Drake May. We'll see what happens, but it's the logo, it's the vibes, it's the biggest. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, subscribe. You already know. Ugh.